I hope I'm wrong, but my gut tells me we will be fighting in 2025. That is the worrying statement made by US 4-star General Mike Minihan in a memo to all Air Mobility Command commanders. This statement comes at a time when the conflict between China and Taiwan continues to escalate, with China increasingly openly threatening to conquer their neighboring island. Especially since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, more and more experts consider it likely that China would also launch a war of aggression. But how likely is a Chinese attack really, and why is the year 2025 so crucial? We take a look at all these questions in today's video. The conflict between China and Taiwan already dates back to a decades-long dispute between two governments. The Communists under Mao Zedong are able to win the Chinese Civil War in 1949 and proclaim the People's Republic of China. The Republicans, who were defeated by the Communists, therefore fled to the offshore island of Taiwan, where they proclaimed the Republic of Taiwan. And so, for more than 7 decades, there have been two Chinese states. Over the decades, however, Taiwan has developed more and more into a democracy, whereas the People's Republic has become more and more of a dictatorship. Thus, two political systems face each other, with Taiwan receiving very strong support from the United States. Of course, this outpost of the USA on its own doorstep is a thorn in China's side. And a stable democracy in Taiwan, which could serve as an incentive for democracy movements in its own country, is also viewed with great contempt by the government in Beijing. And so, to this day, the People's Republic of China considers Taiwan to be an integral part of its own country, and one of the leadership's top goals is to regain control over the island. And the current government under Xi Jinping is acting as aggressively as never before. Recently, after all, Chinese state and party leader Xi Jinping was confirmed by the Chinese People's Congress for a historic third term as president. This means that he will be in office for at least 5 more years and should have a relatively firm grip on domestic politics for the time being. He is thus underscoring his enduring leadership role and is striving for autocracy along the lines of Mao Zedong. And his most important foreign policy goal is so-called reunification with Taiwan. He also makes it openly clear that he would not shy away from military means if necessary. But why exactly is the year 2025 so important? The fact that the year 2025 is so decisive is due to 2 events in particular. First, presidential elections will be held in Taiwan in 2024. There's already talk that China will exert great influence on the elections in order to bring a desired candidate to power. However, if this does not happen, they could use this as a pretext for an attack. On the other hand, presidential elections will be also held in the US at the end of 2024. It is highly unclear who will win these elections, and even if a return of Donald Trump is not unlikely, a new president could either take a new Taiwan course or there could be unrest in US politics and among the population. Something similar happened after the last elections, culminating in the storm of the Capitol. This could distract Taiwan's most important protective power, and the Western alliance could also crumble. China could use this window of uncertainty to carry out its invasion. However, there are also many dissenting voices that believe an attack by China is unlikely in the current situation. After all, the West has been more united since the Ukraine war than it has been for a long time, and the US would probably also defend Taiwan in the event of a war. And China has no interest in a Third World War either. In addition, the government in Beijing has a lot at stake in the event of an invasion, since the existence of the Communist Party and the entire nation could be at stake in the event of a defeat. We can observe something similar in Russia at the moment. The official statement from the US Department of Defense also takes a cautious tone on the general statement, saying, quote, "These comments are not representative for the department's view on China," unquote. The future is highly uncertain in this regard, and it is currently impossible to predict if this invasion will take place in 2 years or if it will take place after all. Only the Chinese head of state Xi himself knows that. What is certain is that Taiwan is preparing for the worst-case scenario and only recently raised the military service from 4 months to 1 year. This serves as a further measure for the potential war which the island state has been preparing for decades. The People's Republic is also investing heavily into its own military in order to be able to challenge the superpower USA in the future.